All right, hello and welcome to a video this time with a screen share because I wanted to talk about books. We will look into my Audible profile because I've been asked a lot, like the books that I read or the books that have been most influential to me. And I mean, I'm regularly sharing the books that I currently read on Twitter, but this whole like self-development journey and building my own things and being much more deliberate and thoughtful and reflective about what I do and how I do it and where to go. And this helped me a lot, not only like for my projects or my personal life or personal growth, but also in my career. I started this in 2017, and there have been a few books that have been really, really influential to me. I'm not a good reader. I'm more of a listener, so I'm consuming most of my books with Audible. I do have some books here, but it will take me much longer. Like I can read a physical book, maybe 3 books a year, but I can listen to 20 to 50. So it's much more easy to me consuming these books and keeping also the stuff that I want to keep and learn from. And I will continuously revisit some of them and listen to them again. So let's take a look. I will not go very deep into all of them, but for some, I will tell you a bit what I liked about them. I will not link them below, so maybe pause and just Google them, because I have a lot of them in German, some of them in English. I know some of you are not from Germany, so you just check Audible or Amazon or wherever you get your books from and get it there, and you will see what they are called here. So the first one is called Deal from Jack Nasher. This is the German copy of it, but it's regarding negotiation tactics, and this actually helped me a lot. There are a few more in there, but if you know the specifics from negotiating, this helps so much in all areas of life, specifically of course career and when you have interviews and so on. Like I can tell you, this increased, like these books increased my salary. Like it's as simple as that. And we are not talking 10%. I mean, the return on investment on these books was really, really nice for me. And I mean, it's not like you can read a book about soccer and then be a pro soccer. You have to practice it and so on. And I read like these negotiation books and I tested it. Like I put stuff on eBay Kleinanzeigen, on eBay, sold stuff on eBay just to try the negotiation tactics and so on in there. I tried to negotiate with people at the hotel reception to see how it works and so on. It's definitely a very good way. And not only because, you might, I was also on the other side of the table, right? I was also in the hiring part. I was an engineering manager. I was negotiating the other way around, right? So this helps a lot in all kinds of areas, and it helps to see if other people try to do shady stuff on you, shady tactics. It helps you realize what's important in a negotiation, and it doesn't have to be like, I say 100 and you say 200, so we meet at 150. That's not a negotiation. A negotiation is more like, what alternatives do you have and how are the things called and how you can prepare so you are comfortable talking about money, talking about deals and everything around it and so on. So yeah, these books, I can really recommend them. Deal is one of them. It helped me a lot. Another one we have here is also from Jack Nasher. This is a German title, Überzeugt, so it's about competence. And one really, really interesting thing in that book, and I read that like it was one of my first books, and it's about perceived competence and actual competence. And if you think about it, as much as we hate it, actual competence doesn't matter if you want to climb the corporate ladder. There are a lot of like not very smart people in the highest ranking positions in some of these ultra large enterprises, or any company for that matter. Why is that? Because they can make other people believe they are competent, and that skill is already very valuable to climb the ladder. If you can do that, it works. If you like, actual competence helps you to achieve like other things and great things. And if you have both, that's even better, of course. And I don't want to say, fake your way to the top, but I want to say, doesn't matter if you have competence or not. You need other people to see that and realize that. As that's like in an ideal scenario, that doesn't have to be necessary. But if we're looking like the actual corporate world, it is necessary. And we can be idealistic and not care about it. But if you want to climb the ladder, if you want to, go higher for higher salaries and so on, it doesn't hurt to know this and realize what, how people perceive you and how you can influence that. So a very good book for maybe a very controversial topic, but something that helps a lot if you are working in a large organization. Rework by Jason Frieden, DHH, David Heinemeier Hansen, so from Basecamp. You might know them. They have written many books, and Rework is just one of them that really inspired me, and a lot of people. It's a classic by now. How they want to run their companies, build their companies, what environment they want to create. So 100% recommended as an inspiration for anyone who tries to build a company or a team. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, also I think it's a classic, I don't know, but it's a very, very nice one. If you think about or, try to go that financial path and think like, how can I get rich, or how can I create a financial cushion? How can I accumulate wealth and assets so I don't have to worry when I'm old and because the German Rente, so I don't know what's it called in English, but the money you get from the state after you are out of the workforce. Like I personally simply don't want to rely on that, and I want to be in control myself. So yeah, how do you get there? How did other people get there? How does that work? Like what's behind it? What's the secret? Rich Dad Poor Dad is very, very inspirational and has very good, put a lot of action items out there for me. So 100% recommended if you are going down that financial path and want to improve on that. That was a time when I had no money saved, not a single euro. Everything I earned, I spent. So I had very bad financial habits, and this helped me a lot, getting better at it. Deep work, getting. Programmers know you have to get into the tunnel. You need like 4-hour blocks in order to get really in there and work on it. And it's probably the same for authors and musicians and so on. And programmers especially have all this mental complexity, like buildings built in their head when they're programming, especially on complex topics. And one interruption breaks them apart. And Deep Work is a book out of that, how you can, get you into a state like this and all the psychology and so on around it. Very recommended, and apply that. It helps a lot. The compound effect. Won't go much into detail. The compound effect, right? It's, the snowball. Very good book. Helped me a ton. How will you measure your life? That's very interesting. I mentioned this in a previous video. What makes your life successful? What do you consider as successful? And all these sense of life questions. And this gives a lot of inspiration and triggers to think about that. The Power of Habit. I don't know. I can recommend all of them, but it's about creating positive habits and getting rid of negative habits. Let's say you're a smoker and you want to stop, or let's say you eat too much sugar and you want to stop, or you want to create the habit of exercising, and so on and so on. So this talks about the cues and the reward and all that, what needs to happen in order to form a habit and how you can do that. And it's very enlightening and helps you hopefully get rid of bad habits and create new good ones. Cash Flow Quadrant is the second book from Robert Kiyosaki after Rich Dad Poor Dad. So Cash Flow Quadrant, I think it's the second one, maybe the third, but it follows along on that path. Really interesting. Also, has the Cash Flow Quadrant is basically you are employed, freelancer, self-employed, and an organization or something like this. And it basically explains the differences and what impact it has on your financials and your life and how you work and so on. It's recommended. Never Split the Difference is another negotiation book. I mentioned already what negotiation did for me personally, and this is part of it. And some of these negotiation books, I think there is a third one in there, they contradict each other. So they have different tactics how to do that, and one says the other one is bad and so on. But that's I like that, you get different perspectives and you can think on your own, like what's good for you or what you want to try or what maybe is your style and how you feel comfortable with. Read that. Think and Grow Rich, as the title says, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I think it's a classic by now as well. What do we have here? That is the third one from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. The first book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, had the most impact on me. The second one's not, the second and third one not that much, but I can still recommend them. Miracle Morning, something that was a game changer for me, although I don't do this currently, but I have done it for a year in 2019, and it was like my most productive year. Got up at 6 and had like this 2-hour period of taking care of myself, being at sport, reading, diary, learning a new language and so on. So this was like, Miracle Morning is something that I think I read it or I listened to it like 3 times. So I could try to continuously refresh it because it's it's just an awesome thing to do. I'm just sometimes getting out of the routine of doing it. It's not like you can build a habit once and then never forget about it. It's still something you have to nurture. Getting things done, about productivity, it's where my whole organizational system comes out of how I prioritize what I do every day. I use an app called Things to do that in this book. I mean, it's very long and very detailed, and it explains a productivity system, but with notes and so on. So as is, you have a lot of paper and files and so on. So today you can do all of that digitally, of course, and the app I use is Things from Cultured Code. And I assume, based on the title and how, what the book says and how the app is structured, that the app is based on that book, but I don't know. Nonetheless, I'm applying the principles of getting things done through the app Things, and it helps me a lot. I'm using this, for 3 years now, and I have very actionable to-dos every day. I try to keep them small. Everything is sorted through there. Everything I have to do every day for work, for private stuff, for my projects, for my long-term goals, my midterm goals, everything is in there. So 100% recommended. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Also a very nice one, very interesting, especially if you are in a leadership position or want to speak publicly here on YouTube or on a conference or whatever. This definitely helps in that regard. Getting to Yes, that's the third negotiation book. So I mentioned it before. Read that, helps a ton. Unshakable, now we're coming to some of the Tony Robbins things. You probably have heard of Tony Robbins. I saw him, no offense, I saw him especially on one of the books with a smile, and I thought, well, that's looks like a scam or something. But when I listened to the first book, it's crazy, that he triggers so much motivation in you, or in me at least, and in a lot of other people. He's very successful, and I genuinely believe that he wants to help people, and the advice he gives in his books helped me a lot. Unshakable was one of the later books that I read, but it's for, as it says, Financial Freedom Playbook. So definitely go on that. The Richest Man in Babylon, also a financial book, a classic. You can read it once or twice. Money Master the Game, that was the first one I read from Tony Robbins, and that's the image that I was referring to. Because if you have I'm sorry, but I don't know, in Germany at least, or for me, if I see that image and a golden money label on top of it, I disregard it, and I disregarded it before and thought, well, that's just like, somebody wants to sell me a course or whatever, but it's really good. It's really good, and it helped me a lot, and I guess it helped many, many, many people. So I can 100% recommend it, and apologies to anyone who felt offended when I said this about the picture. This was my first unqualified thought when I saw it. The compound effect, I'm not even sure if it's the same book or not as before, but yeah, compounding effects, they are awesome. Principles from Ray Dalio. He describes here the principles specific, like for life and work, as the title or the subtitle says. But for example, for me, I don't like the principles that he applies at work that much. So I don't want to build a company that works like that. I think it's very extreme and not necessarily my style, but it's very interesting what worked for him and what he does. And he's very analytical. And there is also this great YouTube video from Ray Dalio about markets and how they work, market cycles and so on. Fantastic. Go to YouTube and check Ray Dalio Principles. There is a really nice explanation video, short one, or a series of short videos. Really, really good. And this book is no exception. The MOM test, that has nothing to do with self-improvement per se. It's more like product building, how you test products, how you test your idea, how do you know that customers like it. Read that if you're building a product, because it helps a lot, and it teaches you to shut up when you talk to potential customers. Don't mention your product at all. Just talk about their problems. You want to learn. You don't want to give them the solution just yet. You want to learn what the biggest pain points are. And this book is a great guide. Start small, stay small. A book a developer's guide to launching a startup. So that is more of the, you don't have to build a $1 billion startup, get VC money, all that. You know that I'm a little bit in that category of people, like with all of my projects, bootstrapping them on the side. So if you are into that, this book is a great source of inspiration. The Intelligent Investor, for any person active on the stock market, definitely recommend it. And Lead the Field by Earl Nightingale, I guess that one is also a classic. Look at how they describe it, the program of presidents and so on. So they hype the book a lot, but it is really helpful, and it definitely is a classic for life and work in general, for personal development. So these are 20 plus books that I can totally recommend and that I started with. Some of them I reread every now and then, but I also have a lot more. Again, I will not link them below because it's too much work to put all the links in there. I don't want to put affiliate links in there, and some of you are not from Germany, so the links don't work for everyone. And you probably want the hardcover and not the audiobook, so just Google them yourself. All right, I hope this helped. Let me know what your favorite books are, or if you have read any of them, what do you think, and which ones do you read now that you haven't heard of yet? Let me know below, and I'll see you in the next one. Tschüss, bye.